My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by professional fighters and MMA insiders. As always, I am joined by Nick Newell, professional fighter, professional model, and ESPN top 10 guest, as well as Dan Kramer, Ultimate Fighter alumni, UFC veteran, Bellator veteran, and Jacob Lyons, a skitty kid from Indiana. Today, we're talking about the Overeem versus Volkov fight night fight card. We're going to run through the entire card, give you our fight picks, give you our DraftKings lineups, and set you up for success. So let's build our lineups for the Overeem Volkov fight night card. This is a wild card with a ton of very close fights and very live underdogs, meaning there's a lot of people who are inexpensive that I think can win their fights and not only win us a bunch of money, but win us some points in DraftKings as well. The card is also all over the place. There are COVID drops left and right. There's some injury drops. So this card is very fluid compared to other cards that we've seen recently. So I'm going to walk through my lineup. As of this minute, this is my final lineup. It may change if there's a drop. So stay tuned. Check back Saturday morning. If there's a drop, you'll see an updated lineup. But as of right now, this is pretty locked in. So let me walk you through what I'm doing here. I personally am going Alexander Volkov in the main event. We talked about this earlier. I think Volkov has more tools. He's younger, and I think he's going to get it done. I think Overeem's only path to success is grappling. And I think if he grapples, predominantly grappling game plan, he's going to get exhausted and get stopped. I'm going with Frankie Edgar in the co-main event. He's one of these guys that is severely undervalued. He is only $6,800. That is dirt cheap for a guy that has the volume and the output that he has. So I think he'll genuinely win the fight, but even if he doesn't, he's going to score us a ton of points. Then I'm going with Pantoja. I think Pantoja has more tools in his bag, so I think he's a grappler who has learned to love striking, and that could be a problem in this fight where he's going to strike for too long with another great striker, but I think he has more tools in his bag. I think if he's winning the striking, then great, he's winning the fight. If he starts to lose the striking, I think he'll go into his bag, pull out the grappling, and win this fight with with his roots, and he'll go ahead and out grapple. Then I'm going with Beneil Dariush in the rematch. So that is a rematch. It is a razor thin fight, but I think Beneil can win again because his grappling is so strong and he has power in his hands. So if he wins the fight by a decision, I think he scores a ton of points grappling or stops him. So then we'll get us some stoppage points. So I think that's a solid pick in Beneil for their rematch. I'm going with Rodriguez. I think Rodriguez gets it done. That's the most, to me, obvious fight of the card. That's going to happen. Rodriguez is going to win that fight. And then we're going with Osborne here. I think Osborne is going to get it done with a last-minute opponent. We talked about it earlier, but if you didn't see that, Osborne was the underdog. So severely undervalued because there was an underdog supposed to lose the fight. And then the original opponent dropped. They've brought in a new opponent. He is now the favorite, but DraftKings doesn't update the player price. So he is still priced as an underdog, even though he's the actual favorite. So I jumped all over that. So this is my lineup. I have $1,500 left over. The trap you can fall into, and I have fallen into in the past, is you do your lineup, you feel good about your lineup, as I do, and then you look and you see, oh my God, I have way too much money left over. I must be wrong. Don't fall into that trap, especially in a card like this where the odds makers are just flat out wrong. Frankie Edgar is way cheaper than he should be, and Osborne is now a favorite, but he costs the price of an underdog. Don't worry about how much salary you have left over. Just chase your stoppages and look for that value there. Nick, I'll go to you. What does your lineup look like? We'll go ahead and build it on the fly now.
Okay, well, I know for a fact there's other fights that are on this card that will be added, so everything's going to change in a little bit. But right now, at the top, I have my Overeem pick. Everyone is disagreeing with me here, The wrestling will make the difference. Overeem is taking this home, and he is definitely winning. I feel it. Frankie Edgar's a little riskier. Sandhagen is a beast, better striker, hits harder. But Edgar is a gamer, and he knows how to get it done. I think the wrestling, again, will be the difference maker. And at 6,800, no doubt, I'm putting Frankie Edgar on my team. The next one is Pantoja. I definitely feel like he's going to win. Just all-around great grappler. The striking can be competitive, but the grappling will not be. Pantoja is a monster on the mat, and that's going to get it done. Then I'm looking at this lineup, and I see Mike Rodriguez. So I'm definitely going with Mike Rodriguez and picking him and putting him in my lineup. The other person that I have is Cody Stammen. I ended up switching because looking at the lineup and putting things out, I might swap him out. I'm not 100% confident that he'll score me points, but I know that he's the possibility of him winning is very high. And the last person I picked is Yusuf Zalal, who is very good and all-around great fighter, a good striker, who grapples in all his fights. So really, I like the chances of him winning.
So $0 left over. You used every last penny in your lineup. So this will be interesting. We have some similarities here, but you went the opposite direction in the main event, and I think that's going to be your demise. So we'll see what happens. All right, so I have $1,500 remaining. Nick Newell has $0 remaining. Dan, let's build your lineup. Let's see what it looks like. I'm curious to see what your budget looks like with all of these live underdogs.
All right, so first up, I got Frankie Edgar for $6,800, pure value play. I think he can also win that fight. I think it'll be a close fight. And for $6,800, I think either way in a decision loss, he's going to put up a lot of points. Next up, I've got Zalal, $9,100. I've got him in there right now because I think it's going to be a very competitive, high-action fight versus Choi. I do think Choi could pull off the win there, but I've got the 9,100 in my budget right now, so I've got Zalal in there in what I think will be a high-paced fight and a lot of points. I've also got Stamen. He's fighting Askar, who's a short-notice replacement. So I think between his wrestling, coming in shape, being in fight camp, I think he's going to score a bunch of takedowns, hopefully wear down Askar and get a finish, but definitely win a decision and hopefully get a bunch of points. I've got Dariush over Ferreira. I think that's going to be an absolute battle, probably fight of the night. It was basically a coin flip in terms of who I thought would win, but I took Dariush because I think he has more finishing power. So if he lands a big shot, that could be big points right there. And if he doesn't, I think it'll be fight of the night and there'll be a bunch of action and points. Next up, I got Mike Rodriguez over Marquez. I think this is a mismatch. Rodriguez looks to be on a different level than Marquez, and he should finish this fight, I think, fairly easily. And lastly, I have Ode Osborne over Rivera. Ode Osborne, you get him for $7,800. He was originally the underdog. That's why he was priced like that. And now he's facing a short notice Rivera, and he's the favorite. So a favorite for $7,800. I'll take that all day. So that's my lineup as of now, but definitely check back Saturday. We'll be submitting our final lineup Saturday morning after ad drops.
Yeah, interesting. We have some similarities, and you and I always do side bets every week. So we'll see how this goes. You didn't go the main event.
Nope.
You mentioned it earlier. It's the first main event you probably haven't drafted in forever. So we'll see how that works out for you.
Yep.
All right, Jacob, let's walk through your lineup. I promise I'll try not to laugh, but let's take a look at your lineup, where you're going, and what your money situation is when it's all said and done.
Yeah, so we saved the best for last, and I think we should do this every video. Let me first start off by saying that I have never been so confident in a lineup in my entire life. Let's start off main event, Volkov. He's better. He's just better. Other people mentioned it as well in the past videos that we uploaded. Overeem could give him issues with the wrestling, but I just don't think his wrestling is good enough to keep Volkov down. Volkov is a much better fighter than Overeem at this stage in their careers. Next, we're going Sandhagen. Yes, Frankie is good value at $6,800, but I just think Sandhagen is just on another level. And Frankie's tough, but I just think Sandhagen gets it done and might get it done early. Early second round, maybe. My next 3 picks. This is a week where you guys might be getting 3 locks of the week, and that's not even a joke. There's definitely 1, could be 3. The first one is O'Day. Dan nailed it. If you don't have O'Day in your lineup, I don't know what you are doing. He is $7,800 fighting someone that is it a short notice or making their UFC debut? It doesn't matter. This guy is a cheap. If Kevin Holland was fighting for $7,800, you would pick him in a second. This guy is Kevin Holland at $7,800. The next is the lock of the week. Clay Guida gets it done. He out-toughs Michael Johnson. I think that's how simple it is. He is just tougher. There's nothing against Michael Johnson. He's a tough guy. Clay Guida is tougher, gets the job done. A lot of takedowns in there too. I think he scores well. My next one is also another one that's a lock of the week. It's not, the official lock of the week, but he's the lock of the week. A lot of people have already mentioned him. Pantoja. He's an unbelievable fighter. He's lost 5 times, and I can't believe he's lost 5 times. One was a war with Figgy, who's the champ, who's been dominating everyone, and he beat Brandon Moreno. So I love that pick. And next, I think I have $8,500 left over. So I had McCann in my lineup simply because of bringing it back, the Darren Till accent. She sounds just like Darren Till. So I have her in my lineup right now. But honestly, I think I'm going to go with everyone else with that Fiera Dariush fight. I think I honestly might flip a coin and just pick off of that because it's such a close fight. I'm leaning Dariush for the takedowns, but right now I have McCann in my lineup. Just throw her in there for the Darren Till. Sounds like Darren Till, but it'll probably end up being Fiera or Dariush. And that's the winning lineup this week. Guaranteed at least 5 right. And I think it could be 6.
Yeah, no, that lineup's an absolute disaster. What is interesting this week for anybody doing their lineup and anybody watching, there's a ton of drops. We mentioned it already, but I just want to keep reiterating. When DraftKings submits their players, in this case fighters, with a dollar value, that value does not change. So whether your opponent went from number 1 in the world to number 275 in the world, that your original fighter is still valued at the same dollar amount. So 3 out of 4 of us drafted O'Day Osborne for that reason. At that price point, he went from underdog to favorite, but we got to scoop him up at the underdog price. Everybody, or actually 2 out of us went the main event, 2 did not. We've talked about this before. Anytime you have heavyweights in a main event, there is some risk there. If it goes the distance, odds are there's not a lot of points. And if it's a stoppage early, especially in this fight, you don't necessarily know who it's going to be. It's not a complete mismatch where you're positive who's going to get the stoppage. Anytime you have somebody with the power of Overeem and, Volkov striking abilities, either one of them could get stopped. So that's a tricky fight. I went Volkov. It's a tricky fight. We'll see how that plays out, but only actually 3 of us drafted the main event, 1 didn't. So heavyweights get tricky, but check us out on Saturday morning and just make sure these lineups didn't change. Hopefully they stay where they are. It sounds like Jacob might have a few small tweaks depending on, what he wants to do with his budget there.
Accents.
But yeah,
Accents.
depending on who sounds like a man and who doesn't. But stay tuned. Continue to follow us. We'll update everything after the weigh-ins and again Saturday morning for a final lineup if anything changes. This is one of the most fluid cards we've ever seen with the amount of drops that they're having. But we appreciate the watch. If you want to learn more about each individual fighter, we have released fight breakdowns of every single fight on this card. So check out those videos if you don't recognize one of these names or you want to learn more about one of these fighters. Like and subscribe. We do this every single week with DraftKings lineups and fight picks. So like, subscribe, comment down below. We answer everything. Thank you for the watch.